for leading us into this satsang.
Thank you, Anilji, and thank you to everybody. Before I start, Anilji is correct that Jayaji and I came there many times. We came there with Swamiji as well. Many of you were there. And Swamiji, I don't remember the name of the place, but there were many, many devotees in that. I remember 2 different functions with Swamiji. And he always enjoyed the depth and the clarity of mind of the Kolkata devotees. And then Jaya and I went there from early on. I mean, I've been here since 2005 now. Jayaji, a little bit, maybe 9 months later, he came. And we went all over India many, many times. We spent many times in Kolkata when we didn't know anybody at the beginning. And then I remember Anilaji came in and different ones of you. I can't remember everybody, but at the beginning it was a pretty wild scene. I mean, we had to find a place to stay. We had to find, get our tickets there. We didn't know the halls to book. But then we had wonderful times. We had Kriya initiations and Master's home. We went to the various wonderful pilgrimage places, and those were deep initiations, as I recall, and the reviews were deep as well. And so I told Diti some time back that I would come to Calcutta, and because of the virus situation, nobody's able to get around and travel. So this idea came up to come online and share. And I'm glad it did, because I promised Diti today that I would do this more often. So more often means it hasn't been often at all. So I'm happy to come and share with you all. And the last thing I'll say before starting is, what Anilji was saying about Ananda. Ananda is a family. It's not just a center that gives off techniques, and a family helps each other, isn't it so? So this person helps with this person is skilled in that, they help with that, this person brings in this person brings in that. And from the beginning, Swamiji and Master, I think when Master went to America, he didn't know anybody. He'd seen the students in vision, but he didn't know them. He needed help. So he called on Dr. Lewis, he called on various ones, and he built the work from the devotees' help. And I'm happy to say that's how Ananda India has grown, from all of you, from the devotees' help. There are not many of us here in India who came with Swamiji back in those days. How are we going to be able to do it ourselves? It was just impossible. And Swamiji really, he said it all the time. He wanted Indians involved in doing this work. He kept saying, this is India, get people to help you. And that's why we were just so dogged, you could say, about you've got to help. And so it's a joy to see after 15 years, the devotees all over India who just making Master's name and his mission known. And so I'm happy to be back with the Kolkata devotees. Some of you are old friends that I've known for years. Some of you are new friends that, these bonds that we have are from many lives. It's not even one lifetime, it's many lives. Swamiji said himself, he said, I feel we've all been together before with Master. And so when you come together like this, we're sharing with God. And I tell you, I'm so joyful. It's a blessing for me. And you look at this beautiful altar here, I'll tell you what it's about, that today we had a sacred ceremony in the higher Kriyas here. And so I decorated the altar with these beautiful flowers. And the room is just, there's so much of a wonderful fragrance here. More than yesterday. They've been here yesterday, I had some classes, but today is just like the whole room is filled. And it was a wonderful, wonderful moment. And so you might feel coming through the screen the wonderful blessings and vibrations of the masters from today. So I welcome all of you as well, and I hope I can answer all your questions and share with you. I plan to just bring in various things under your questions. Next time I can give a straight satsang, but meaning a talk. But today I'll weave in this topic with the questions that you all have and the answers that I give. Okay, does that sound good to everybody? Okay. So let's start. Let's inhale and tense the body. And exhale, relax. Inhale. Exhale. And once more, gather all the tensions of the day, of the week even, and exhale and relax. Let's pray together now. Divine Mother, Heavenly Father, friend, beloved God, Guru Preceptors, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, beloved Master, Paramahansa Yoganandaji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. Divine Mother, we are thy children, seeking to return home to thee. Bless our efforts, that we might see thy face in this lifetime. Receive us, Divine Mother, on thy lap. We are thine. Be thou ours. Om Shanti Shanti. Let's meditate a moment together. Om, Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. I like to start with a reading from Songs of the Soul, and then we'll go right into the questions. This is My Soul is Marching On, the words of Master. Before this poem, he says, never be discouraged by the motion picture of life. Salvation is for all. Just remember that no matter what happens to you, still your soul is marching on. No matter where you go, your wandering footsteps will lead you back to God. There's no other way to go. In the poem, the shining stars are sunk in darkness deep. The weary sun is dead at night. The moon's soft smile doth fade anon, but still my soul is marching on. The grinding wheel of time hath crushed full many a life of moon and star, and many a brightly smiling morn, but still my soul is marching on. The flowers bloomed, then hid in gloom. The bounty of the trees did cease. Colossal men have come and gone, but still my soul is marching on. The eons one by one are flying. My arrows one by one are gone. Dimly, slowly, life is fading, but still my soul is marching on. Darkness, death, and failures vied. To block my path, they fiercely tried. My fight with jealous natures strong, but still my soul is marching on. Let's just feel those words of our Guru invigorating us. with his spiritual power to overcome any difficulties during this time in particular. Still, my soul is marching on. And I want to share a few words before the questions. This is about a disciple. His name was Horace Gray. He was a disciple of Master, and he had multiple sclerosis. I'll just read this to you, very brief, then I want to comment on it. Horace Gray was a disciple of Master. It was very simple, very devoted. This was written by a direct disciple in Phoenix. There was a monk with multiple sclerosis named Horace Gray, who assisted the minister at the Phoenix temple in the late 40s. A Phoenix devotee couldn't understand why Master didn't heal him. One night, this thought was on the devotee's mind as she saw Master. Just as she was about to ask Guruji about not healing Horace Gray, Master said to her, "Isn't it wonderful that in this life, Horace is going to work out all the karma that brought on his multiple sclerosis? Isn't it wonderful?" The devotee understood and never wondered again about Horace and his condition. And from then on, she was really inspired by this monk, especially near the end of his life, when he was so weak that he could no longer stand. But still desiring to serve Master in some way, he would lie down on the lawn at the Hermitage, where he spent his last days in Encinitas, and with his remaining strength, pull weeds one by one. And he did that to the very end. He was serving, he was doing what he could do. What a beautiful testimony. I think we all have to remember that in these times that are difficult, we think, why doesn't it go away? Why doesn't the virus end? Why don't the protests end? Well, this is a time where we're getting strong. Isn't it wonderful? I think that's the way we have to approach it. That Divine Mother has brought us here at this time, that we can work off our karma and help other people. Isn't it wonderful? And with that attitude, you feel invigorated. You feel Master's power streaming through you, ideas, inspiration, how to find solutions about things. And if we just turn that attitude from it's a hard time to isn't it wonderful, then you have the power within you to make changes around you, to make changes in yourself, to help other people, to be strong during challenging times. And as one of Swamiji's songs goes, you get rid of one problem and you face the friend. Now, there's not going to be, the virus isn't going anywhere anytime soon, nor are the protests. I think we have to learn how we can put our energy out as light. Someone asked a question, I'll answer it more later, but everything you do, your kriya, chanting, devotional acts that you do, going to kriya, reading books, putting on Swamiji's music, is just sending out waves of light out into the world to help other people. So Ananda shines in hard times. I've been through many times with Ananda, but devotees rise up because we know we have the power of our gurus. Those who shrink down, they have to go through the tests again, one or another, to strengthen themselves. Those who say, thank you, God, thank you, Divine Mother, thank you, Master, I'm happy, I'm willing, I'm inspired to serve other people. In the past 3 months, I counted up with a friend how many classes that I've been able to share with people just every day except for one day out of the week. Over 110 classes. Now that's putting out energy to reach out, to send the light out. And in whatever way you can do it, praying for people, doing yoga postures, instructing other people, sending a note. I like to think of with Guru Bhais. Guru Bhais are always there to help you. You call up, you say, I'm feeling a little down. They say, okay, I'll send you a quote of master. Here's a chant. Oh, let's talk about Guruji did this and that. I have a story, whatever. And you call a so-called friend, and who's not on the path, they go, oh, I've got problems too. Listen to my problems, isn't it so? And so we have strength in numbers with our devotees and Guru Bhais and with our masters. And it's the greatest blessing of our life to be here right now. You can't hide. The karma, I remember one minister in the church was saying, your karma will find you. It will run after you. And I would say it's our good karma to help our gurus now in these challenging times to put the light out, to put Swamiji's songs out, to do healing prayers out there, do Ananda yoga, anything you can do, just to keep putting the light out to people. And as you do, you find, wow, I would tell you, this is the best time of my life right now. Why? My guru's happy. If he's happy, it's the best time of your life. If you're happy, it doesn't mean it's the best time of your life. But I feel the energy. I feel all the master's blessings. Ananda is skyrocketing online, reaching more people than we ever reached in India with 25 people in a room, each center. That's not enough. Now it's global. And so this is a time when we're breaking boundaries, breaking out of limiting thoughts, breaking down the walls. I was in Europe when that wall between East and West, the Berlin Wall came down. Boy, that was a wonderful moment. So things are breaking down now. And why? Because it's Dwapara Yuga. This energy wants to get out. Unity, harmony, how people can be together, how people can work together. That's what's happening now. It's not Kali Yuga anymore. Oh, we have to be limited. We only do this. We only pray for so many people. And going global, I love it. I just think it's fantastic. You can get on here. I live by myself. I walk from one room to get on here and I can talk to people everywhere. And it's just a thrilling feeling. So as we begin with the questions, keep those thoughts in mind. This isn't a bad time. On one level, it is. But on a level of a devotee, it's a very good time to burn up a lot of karma and help a lot of people. And to serve our guru, to show you're an example. I know there's somebody here who all they do every day is hit a golf ball downstairs. I feel so sad for them. They don't have any path. They don't have any techniques. They don't have any Guru Bhais. They don't have a guru. We're so lucky that we have this path, and we came for now to shine the light out into the world during difficult times. And I bet you we've done this many lifetimes. Something happens and Master says, shine the light. Shine the light out through yourself, out through the practices, and people will be helped. So now let's go on to the questions, and I'll try my best to answer them. So are you going to read the questions, Diti? And yes. I'm assuming everybody's here at this point, right?
Yes. So I'm starting. The first question is from Shomik Pradi, and she says,
a little louder, just a little louder. Yeah.
Sure. Hello, Dhyana ji. Hope all is well with you. I would like to know that how would one identify a truly spiritually evolved person? Are outward manifestations enough? Thank you.
Okay. Now, I read that question before, and yes, everybody's here was asked those questions. I just wanted to get something from Swamiji and I'll comment. The basis of all true progress is right attitude, he's saying in the Raja Yoga book. If you are becoming more kind and more giving, more calm, you're becoming sure, you may be sure that you're progressing, whether you see visions or not. If you're succeeding in relinquishing your likes and dislikes and are learning to accept everything even-mindedly, whatever experiences life sends you, then you have much cause for rejoicing. If you find that you have fewer and fewer desires for the things of this world, know that you are truly finding freedom. And more important still, if your love for God is growing ever deeper, know that you are fast approaching Him. And if through all the trials of life you always feel joy inwardly, a joy that nothing can shake, know that you have Him already to a wonderful degree. Yes, samadhi is a wonderful thing, ardently to be desired. But once one's attitude is right, everything else will fall into place automatically. On the other hand, because of some imperfection in their attitude, saints have been known to fall even from a state of samadhi. So how do you know if a person is truly advanced? I'm going to keep my glasses on. I can see you better that way. It's all the things Swamiji has said here. And how do you know if you're advancing? All of these things, the right attitudes, attunement to the Guru, a willingness, desire to know God more, desire to love God more. These are things you look to, and people who are saintly. There's physical things as well, the posture, the eyes. It's not so much that the person never gets ill. Swamiji was ill many times. I think he was taking on karma of people. Master was ill. I think he was, he was taking on karma from people. And so it's more their attitudes. Are they selfless? And here's one thing Swamiji told someone who said, what is the prerequisite for an Ananda Acharya? And they said, is it that they can lecture well, or they've been here a long time, or what is it? I loved Swamiji's answer. He said, first of all, he said, we watch them. And the person said, what do you watch? Can they give a good talk? He says, no. We watch them to see how their attitudes are during difficult times in their lives. Wow, what a beautiful answer. We watch them. And are they still willing to serve others when their own life has a crisis in it? What a beautiful answer. And I saw many people like that. I'll tell you a story. I'm glad I can share these stories with you. I'll tell you a story of someone. I knew a woman at Ananda. She's still there. She's the principal of the high school. Her son was shot and killed. And everyone was completely shocked. He wasn't at Ananda. He was living elsewhere. She was the principal of the school. She's still the principal of the school. She just kept serving. Swamiji helped her, but she didn't leave. She didn't stop working. Maybe it was for a week or so. I know another person who was Swamiji's housekeeper and cook, and her husband died on the road while he was jogging in Italy. Very deep soul, Rajasi, Janakananda type. And Swamiji did the astral ascension ceremony. He just wept the whole time. And then this gal's name was Leela. Some of you would remember her. And then she asked Swamiji, it was either that day or the day after. She said, Swamiji, she was my best friend. That's how I can tell you the story. She said, Swamiji, I don't know what else to do but come and make your meals and serve you. Would you allow me to come? And he said, yes, come. Now that's what Swamiji meant. She came and she just served him, and she got over it through the seva and through his grace and blessings. And so that's one thing you look for. Is the person thinking about them? Or are they thinking about you? Are they thinking about sharing and serving? Are they selfless? Are they thinking about receiving for themselves? So these are some of the signs that you can look for. People say, oh, I'm in this state, I go into samadhi every day, this happens and that happens, I have powers. I love what Jayaji said. One time we were at a talk and people were asking questions at the end, and they asked him, well, what powers do you have? And, you know, he'd been on the path for 50 years. So people figured he had siddhis. So he said, oh, I don't think I have any powers. And you can feel the whole audience, oh, he doesn't have any powers. And so then he said, wait, I might have one power. And everybody was all ears. And he said, the power to be happy at will. Wow. That's such a great answer. And I know him, and I know that's how he is. So don't look for somebody who can levitate, he can walk on water, can dematerialize a body and materialize over there. People, they rush to those people. One woman told Master, I'm leaving you because this other guru can dematerialize his body and go on another hilltop and materialize it. He says, okay, I'll withdraw my ray then. But think about it. How many people do you know who can be happy at will? Not many. So these are the things you look for, the proper attitudes, inward attitudes that have grown in that person over the years. Okay? Next question.
The next question is from Pushpanjali Banerjee. The paths of yoga teaches us to withdraw our energies within, chitta vritti nirodha. But I also have a part of me that strongly believes in social engagement and activism. Activists and political thinkers on the left have had a deep impact on my grooming, and I firmly believe in the work they do to confront social, economic, and racial inequities. How do I reconcile these two strands, yogic practice and social engagement or activism? Thank you so much. Yours sincerely, Pushpanjali.
Wonderful question, especially in these days. And you can't be passive. You have to be engaging, you have to be dynamic, you have to be active. Ananda fought for religious freedom. Ananda fought to have an intentional community. Master fought for equality. He was run out of town because, you know, and I think it was Florida, because of dark skin, being Indian in the 1920s. I think they were mistaken that he was black. But, you know, Swamiji wrote many songs about racial injustices. Jim Brown is one of the songs. You know that song? Many of you. Well, it's about a black janitor who, I just read about this yesterday. He wrote many songs about injustices, but this one, the man was cleaning the church, and he asked the minister, he said, well, you know, can I also come to this church and bring my family? And this was in, you know, heavy times of racial prejudice, the 20s, because Master told the story himself. Swamiji only wrote the song. And then the minister says, oh, no, you can't come here because we're all white and you know what you are. And so he didn't allow him to come. So the man goes home, and in his prayers, he's crying and crying to Jesus that why can't I sit in the pews in the church like everybody else? I go there and I love it. I go there and I clean. How come I can't go sit there? And so then he has a vision of Jesus, the man, the janitor, And Jesus says, don't worry, Jim. His name was Jim Brown. Don't worry. That church has been going for 3 years, hasn't it? And I've been trying to get in there myself for the past 3 years. I can't go there either. I just love it. But this is such a great story. And this is how the story Swamiji had songs to many of these stories of injustices. And so I would say, do what you can. You can only do so much. My niece gave a beautiful speech. My family lives, one part of my family in Texas. I applauded her. You know, she's just out of high school. There's hundreds of people there. And she gave a wonderful talk last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't do that. That's not my thing. I applaud it. But I either do that or I do this. And this is my calling. So whatever your calling is, you have to go with that. And as I was trying to say a moment ago, put out good vibrations for change. Pray that things change. Do healing prayers. Be an example yourself of, and I think that's one reason why, you know, when I came to Ananda, now I'm just being very upfront with you in this satsang, I hope you don't mind, but I came in 78, I met Master, you know, not met him, but I came onto the path. And honestly, I came out of Los Angeles, California. I heard about this yogic community up in the hills, you know, and above San Francisco. And it was just Master telling me to go there. Now, I didn't know how I would be accepted at Ananda. Honestly, I didn't. I went there. I was one of the 2, maybe 3 Black people there. All the rest of the community was, you know, all Caucasian. I didn't know people have prejudice. I just didn't know. I get there and Swami Kriyanandaji himself greets me. And he says, what is your name? And I told him, and he says, first words, this is your home. You should think about living here. And I didn't find ever in all my days there, never any hint of prejudice. Now, also, as far as gender goes, you know, Swamiji put whoever had the skills and the talents and the willingness in different positions. So many women are still in charge of different departments. It never was, oh no, the women stay there, the men do this. And the other thing was about age. He didn't care how young you were. I was 21 years old. Many people came to Ananda. They were 18, 19. Even today, the young people, somebody can do it, let them do it. It's not, oh, you're too young, get some gray hair and then we'll let you give a talk at the satsang. It was always equal. Now, how many communities do you know where you can go to where there's equality? Probably none. But I'm here to tell you, I've been there long enough, 40 years, to be able to watch and see. And this is what I have seen. So here again, every time you do your Kriya, you do your Hong Sa, Om technique, every time you energize, you chant, you play the music, just send out vibrations. If you can do more, if you can help fund some of these things that are going on, if you can, whatever, you have to figure that out in your heart. Be sincere is the main thing. Don't go because I have to do it. There's so many fake people. Just be sincere in what you can do. But you know you can be sincere in your prayers and your meditations and your chanting to send light out to the world. Is that helpful? Whoever has asked that question? I don't see everybody on the screen, but I hope that's helpful. Okay?
Yes.
Diti?
I'll go to the next question, Dhyanaji.
Okay.
Tarun Ganguly ji asks, could you please comment on the importance of food in our spiritual path? The second question is, do challenges keep us energized?
Yeah, hold on. Let me do one at a time.
Okay.
So food.
Yes.
Now, I'm just remembering a funny story of Swami Kriyanandaji. And was it Norman or one of the monks went on the grape fast? Do you remember the story from the new path? And Master caught them and he just said, listen, a pure heart is so much more important than a pure stomach. And so then he didn't want to break their will. So he said, he didn't tell them to stop. So they continued a few more days. But Swamiji realized he was right. And so I'll start with that. Make your heart clean through chanting, through offering prayers, through offering yourself, self-offering to Divine Mother. In addition, the more clean your diet can be, the better. But don't make diet a religion in itself. And so I've seen in India, and I know I'm stepping out of bounds here, but I've seen way too many sweets. I mean, I remember one class I was doing, and I was talking about the food, and I said, you know, you need to cut back on the sweets, and like isn't one gulab jamun enough rather than more? And one man said, no, Dhyana, you got to have at least 4 of those. And you know, do you really? How do you feel after that? Heavy, no? And I remember Swamiji told somebody who I know, he said, how can I go deeper in meditation? Swamiji said, eat less ice cream. Wow, these are important things. And so watch out for heavy, greasy foods that weigh you down, meat eating. I'll tell you what I did. When I started, I was doing yoga postures even before Kriya Yoga. I felt so good. I just couldn't eat certain types of foods anymore. I couldn't eat meats and heavy sweets. I just was feeling so good. By the way, you should try some of Master's diets. The 9-day diet, 35 of us did that this past, maybe some of you were on that diet with us past November. There's the 3-day orange juice fast. There's the 1-day orange juice fast. He gives some wonderful diets. I'm sure you all can find them. But as you do these different diets, you feel that, and you cleanse yourself, you just feel you can meditate more. So drinking, anything heavy, anything overeating is going to be too much. It took me 1 year to let go of meats and become a vegetarian, but I did it naturally because I was doing yoga and I felt good, and I just couldn't put that in my system. So you find that certain times as you meditate, you say, do I want to eat all this on my plate now, or do I want to meditate? You start making those choices. So just be natural about it and go step by step. Don't make it a religion. Okay, the next question is? Mute.
Sorry. Do challenges keep us energized?
It depends on the person. Now here's something Swamiji said, which is really interesting. He said, Master said the disciples will all be protected, meaning from whatever happens, you'll be protected. Then I heard him say on a talk recently, Swamiji said, wow, I said, that's amazing. He said, but that depends on you. You can't just, like, there were some ladies who always left their car open. They said, no, Master's protecting, he's protecting, and he saw them. He said, I'm not protecting you that way. You have to use common sense. So you also have to put out energy to make things happen. You can't expect that Master's going to do everything for you. What was the question again? You're still on mute. Why don't you just stay, don't mute yourself.
Do challenges keep us energized?
So the challenge, it depends on you. Do you move up or do you go down? A devotee, a disciple says, I'm going up with this challenge. I'm going to move up. How do you move up? You increase your sadhana, be in satsang. I'll tell you one thing, energization, if you can do that more than once a day, you'll just be soaring. I just totally see what Master was saying on that now. First time you do it is a little bit of energy. Then if you do it twice a day, that's more energy. If you do 3 times, it's a powerful practice. So with that kind of energy, surely you can rise up. If you do some postures, chant, do more kriyas, make sure you don't miss your sadhana, you're going to have a lot of energy flowing through you. Challenge will come. Your aura is big and strong. Things don't hit you. They might tap on the outside, but it doesn't knock you down. And attunement to the guru. But God can't even do it for you. Guru can't do it for you. You have to put out the effort, like that man said, Master, you can do it because you're a master. He said, what do you think made me a master? I did it. And so challenges, people are different. Some people go down and, at the beginning of this virus, I just told people, don't hide now. I mean, this is a time to show who you are. Show your strength. Help people. Get out there. I was walking by this man who sells the flowers here in the neighborhood. And, for at least 2 months, he couldn't get any flowers. I just felt so badly for them. And I always bought from him. These came from him. And, help in any way you can. So I thought, I'm not going to stand by and let these people go hungry. I can't do it. It was a little thing, but I just packed up some bags of food and I took it over to them. And then I said, here, just, a couple of times, whatever you see, try to be a part of the solution. If you try to be a part of the solution instead of the problem, then surely you rise up and you learn and you grow. Swamiji said when we first got Ananda property, there was no money and hardly anybody coming. And he said these words, I hoped that Divine Mother would help us by bringing some people in who could help pay for the place and everything we needed. Then I love what he said. He said, she didn't. She didn't. And he said, because she wanted us to grow. And he said, we grew in strength. We grew in attunement. We grew in energy. We grew in magnetism. So you can't always say like a child, Mommy, Daddy, help me, help me. Then the child just doesn't have any strength, doesn't have any energy. Then when they're an adult, Mommy, Daddy, help me. Master never babied anybody. And Swamiji never did either. So challenging times, rise up. Get up in the morning. Get your sadhana strong. Read the books of Master. Get some books up. Put them in your meditation room. My meditation room, I have a tanpura. I have a harmonium. I've got a gong. Anytime I'm just feeling like, get that gong out. Boom! It's just like, whoa! You got to get the energy moving instead of on the couch all day. And, you can't go outside these days, hardly at all. So I say do more energization. Take energization breaks even. I remember one fellow told me, this is a class, I think it was Mumbai, it was years back, and we taught energization, then we came back, I don't know, a month or so later. And so we were asking people how they go, and I told them don't watch so much television as well, because it pulls energy down. So this fellow raises and he says, well, Dhyanaji, I can't say that I stopped watching the television, but through the exercises, now at least I can sit up and watch television. And I thought, well, that's a good step forward. So move, get the energy moving and keep moving. If you feel energy dropping, do something, get online, find something, find a quote of Master. Don't let it, if it dips too far down, it's going to be hard to get it back up. Call a guru by, put on a chant, put on Swamiji's music. It's a battle, let's face it. We're in the middle of a battle. It's a battle with our own selves. It has nothing to do with the outside. It has to do with the inside. And we face many battles, but this is a big one. But I tell you, I have this feeling, I don't know if I'm right, but I have this feeling, this thought, the master is saying, I'm trying to get you out. I don't want to fix up the mud puddle. I want to pull you out of there. You've got to help me to pull you out. And that means do the practices, no? Okay, next question.
Third question. When you are listening to music, oxygenated blood flows to the part of your brain. Do you agree?
Yes, I agree. And I found something on that. Now, I'll read this, then I'll answer the question. In a study, I got this from online, a violinist performed brief excerpts from a dozen different compositions, which were videotaped and later played back to a listener. Researchers tracked changes in local brain activity by measuring levels of oxygenated blood. More oxygen suggests greater activity because the body works to keep active neurons supplied with it. Musical performances caused increases in oxygenated blood flow in areas of the body related to understanding patterns, interpersonal intentions, and expressions. Besides that, data for the musician collected during a performance was compared to those for a listener during the playback. In all, there were 12 selections of familiar musical works. They named them here. The brain activities of 16 listeners were compared to that of the single violinist. So yes, that happens. And that's one reason why Swamiji wrote 400 pieces of music. Keep that music going. Some music affects you negatively. You probably heard of these studies done on plants. They put plants next to a speaker, and if the music is a heavy boom, 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 boom beat, the plants move away from the speaker. They try to go as far away as possible. If it's music that's classical, uplifting music, they love the Indian ragas the best. The plants moved around the speaker, got their tentacles around the speaker, moved as close to the speakers as possible. And then Dr. Emoto, with his experiments on water, we're 60% water. He showed how talking, singing, music, focused in water. And then when he froze the water, heavy music, beautiful music, saying things like, I hate you, or I love you, made differences, big differences in the formation of the water crystals. The ones who were that played beautiful music to beautiful crystals. All these things you can go online and see. The ones with heavy beat music, just very dark looking shapes. So we know that. I even found something. The reason I know all this now is because I just gave a talk on it. But they have, they found in Australia and also in England that cows gave more milk when they played music to them that was harmonious. These are interesting facts. And that goes to show you that we as well, with 60% water, what we listen to, what we hear from other people, it's affecting us on very deep levels and changing our level of energy, our magnetism, and our consciousness. And so this is why chanting is wonderful. Master spiritualized his chants. He sang them over and over until he got a divine response. Swamiji said his music is attuned to the vibration of Om. Sing it, listen to it, play it in your house. I know one family, then I'll go on to the next question. She said that her kids were always fighting, and then the little kids, so she would put on Om, mantra of eternity, and sooner or later the kids would just calm right down. So yes, it has a definite effect. Don't listen to music that's heavy beat. I get into some people's cars who are going to take me somewhere and I hear that music. I say, I know you're not listening to that. No, Dhyana ji, I'm not listening to that. I say, well, why is it on? It's on. What? Why is it on there? So just be very careful with music that you listen to. Okay, next question.
The next question is from Alok Datta. He says, would you please tell us about your time with Swamiji?
Hi, Alok. I was happy to get that question. I need about 2 days to go into that with you. But I'll share a couple of stories that might be helpful to you. And many of you here met Swamiji, so you would have your stories as well. I'll tell 2 or 3 that I hope are helpful. And see, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I'm talking to family. Is this right? Am I talking to family? Feels like an Ananda family member.
Yes.
So I can share more intimately with you. Is that so? Or
Yes.
okay, fine. So one story was about Swamiji's exuberance and his enthusiasm. Now, I came as a young, wild person. Everybody did to Ananda. And because of Swami Kriyananda, you know, he calmed me right down. He'd just keep you so busy. You just didn't know what hit you. And you suddenly were changing. But one story, this was later as I was there for some decades. Swamiji wanted to get some paintings and for the Crystal Hermitage where he was living, the heart of Ananda, like a big, not a retreat facility, a beautiful home. Swamiji lived downstairs and upstairs we had community events. So we were in Italy. I lived in Italy for 7 years. You all probably know that and helped serve there. So we went to this place in southern Italy and Swamiji was so enthusiastic. I rarely had ever seen him that enthusiastic. He went, he knew the artist was there. If you have been to Ananda Village, you've seen these paintings in his home and in the Crystal Hermitage. So he bought 33 paintings that day for this. I mean, we didn't have any paintings on the wall for this beautiful, beautiful center at Ananda Village. So he was going, oh, this one and oh, some were huge, some were small. And so then there were about 8 of us there with him. And he was so enthusiastic. He said, well, what about you all? Why don't you get paintings? And you know, and nobody really could afford a painting. He said, why are you standing there? Go pick out a painting. And so people didn't really know what to do, but they knew they couldn't afford a big painting. Swamiji was buying a lot of big paintings. So then, so everybody tried to do what they could do. Now I'm going to show you. So I got a painting. My painting was about, it was like half of this size, half of the size of this book. So people were kind of holding onto their paintings and Swamiji went, oh, let me see your painting. I mean, he was so enthusiastic. Let me see your painting. What painting do you have? Little card. And he said, what is that? That's not a painting. You can't even see it. I said, well, Swamiji, that's all I can afford to get today. He says, get a painting. And he looks at everybody, get a painting. I will help you buy a painting. Now that's how he was. If whatever he could do to help you, to uplift yourself, these were beautiful paintings. So I ended up with the painting. I told him with the small one, I was going to get a big frame. And he said, no, that doesn't work. So I ended up with the painting about this big with a beautiful frame around it. And everybody got a better painting because of Swamiji. That's how he always was. How can I help you all to, move up? Now, here's another story that's related. When Swamiji used to come to Italy, we lived there, and we never got a salary there till near the end. It just was a startup. There was no money there. You just came and served. And so then at the end, there was you got $25 a month. And there were, I don't know, 6, 7 people there, $25 a month. That seemed like a good salary at the time. And so Swamiji would come to town. Now, this is I hope you understand these stories, because I don't want to put this out in the wrong way. It's a very important point. He would come to town and he would say, okay, let's go for a meal, and there was not many people there at the time. And here again, people would go, oh no, I'm not going to take my $25 and go for a meal. And Swamiji would say, he would name these restaurants, because he wanted to go out to a nice place, and you'd be praying, Divine Mother, please let Swamiji want pizza only. And it never worked. It never worked. So Swamiji would say, well, let's go to this place. And you just go, oh my God. But here's the point. Some people never went. They said, no, I can't afford it. They didn't tell him, but they just didn't go. I'll stay home. I have to do this or that. They never went because they were afraid. They didn't have faith that they could live the rest of the month. Some people always went. Everybody got the same amount. And so then we would get there. It would be beautiful. We pay for Swamiji's meal as well. We have a nice meal. And he would sit there and just talk about his life with Master. I wasn't going to miss that for anything. I didn't care what it costs. And that taught me about expansiveness, how to have more faith, how to know Divine Mother can help you. And every time, the people who went were always taken care of. Now, because we went, because we wanted to be with Swamiji, we wanted to be with Master, we wanted to hear the stories, always taken care of, and always happy. The people, no, I'm not going to spend my money. They were never happy, and something always happened to them. An interesting story, isn't it? Now, are you liking these stories, or are these too deep for you? If it's too deep, I'll get to the shallow stories, because the next one is deeper. Is this okay? Am I going the right track?
Everyone's very much enjoying Dhyana.
Yeah, okay, I got one more story that changed my relationship with Swamiji. This also happened in Italy. They all have a moral. I'm trying to make sure you understand the moral. Now, we were trying to do work with the charismatic Catholic group, Yoga and Catholicism in Italy, through Swamiji and a group that we had met. We loved those people. There was a very close rapport with both groups. They were called the Peki group. It goes way back in Ananda history. So there we were, and there was a wedding that was happening in that group. And they lived in the south of Italy. We lived in the north. We were invited, all of us, like 8 of us, to go to the wedding, including Swamiji. So we're driving down there. We get down to as far as Rome, that was maybe a few hours away from the destination. And we're having dinner at somebody's house, a host, and we're going to sleep there that night. And then we get a phone call. Swamiji takes the call, and he comes back to the dinner table, and he says, well, this story is about loyalty. And he says, well, they said all of you are invited to come, but they don't want me to come. And everybody went, what? We're not going to go. And it was political, because Swamiji was being known more and more. And their own priests, people were starting not to follow him. They wanted to follow Ananda and Swamiji. And so then we just said, Swamiji, we're not going to that. And so then he looked around the table, and he said to 2 girls, you may know, Kirtani and Parvati, he said, you're not going and you're not going, but all the others are going. And I was the only woman who was on the other side, who was supposed to be going. And I'm not going to do this. And I begged Swamiji not to make me go. And he says, no, don't make it political. They're your friends. You need to go. And he kept explaining it in this way, but I could see in his eyes that he wasn't, it was a test. I knew it was a test. And I just kept saying, I mean, I cried my eyes out that night in bed. I just said, why does he make me go? I don't want to go. That means he thinks I'm disloyal. And, you know, I really went through a heavy night. So then the next morning I went to him again. I said, please, Swamiji, don't make me go, please. And he said, Dhyana, you must go. What was I to do? So then we drive down, and Swamiji's staying at another place in like Capri, the island there, with these other two, they weren't, yeah, Acharyas. And there was 1, 2, 3, 4 of us who were in this other, Keshava was one of the people who were in the other group. So we go to the wedding, you know, there's all the beautiful arrangements, and the wedding hasn't happened yet, but there's all the parties, you know, everything that was happening. And now just see how delusion works. So because Swamiji said to go, we start getting into it. Well, okay, he said go, so we may as well enjoy it. What a delusion. So then Swamiji calls us over to where he was. So he calls us, after a day or two, he calls us. So the group goes over to where he was, and he was at a cafe, and we were sitting there having some cappuccino and tea. And now get this, what happens. Swamiji, he's drinking his tea, and he looks over at me, and he says, Dhyana, don't you have a class in Como? That's where we lived. And I said, no, I don't have a class. And so I didn't know what was going on. And I remind you, I was in my 20s when I went over there, late 20s. So then he didn't say anything. The conversation went elsewhere. Then again, he looked at me and says, now, are you sure you don't have a class? Don't you have classes there that you gave away or something? I said, Swamiji, I've arranged for all my classes. I don't have a class. That's why I'm here. And he did 3 times. And I didn't get it at all. So then he just let it go. And he said, okay, well, let's all take a walk. So we're walking, and Master must have told me, because it came so clearly, he's giving you an excuse not to go. How subtle is that? So I went to him, I said, Swamiji, I have a class. And I certainly could make up 100 classes. I said, I have a class. I can't go. And he said, oh, is that right? You can't go? I said, no. I said, I can't go. I was so happy. But he wanted, it was a major test for me, because after that, he never asked me again. He started telling me what to do. I was so glad. Like he became my father, like many people at Ananda. And I didn't want him to ask me what to do. I wanted him to tell me. So then next time something came up, he says, no, you're not going to do that. I said, great. You know, it was wonderful. But I had to pass the loyalty test. That was huge. And once I got over that hump in my life, he was saying, you want that social life and the wedding and everything? Are you going to stick with Master? Once I got over that, I was in, so to speak, with Ananda. I had passed a major test. And from then on, Swamiji trusted me. But I had to go through that. And isn't that an interesting story? I hope that helps you. It's a story about loyalty. Where do you stand? And everybody has that. You go here or you go there. And once you go, Master said it's the highest law. So anyway, I hope that's helpful to you, those stories of Swamiji's life. So Diti?
Those were very beautiful, Dhyanaji. Moving to the next question. This person does not wish to be named.
Yeah.
Often I heard from our mentors that after meditation, silence is needed. This is time when karmic seeds are dissolved. If you throw more light on this, please.
Yeah, I remember that question. It's hard to be in the silence. That's why Master said after Kriya, you can do Hongsa on the spine, you can go into devotion, you can look at the spiritual eye, you can listen to Om with open ears. So how do you work with I mean, is the karma burning? Is that the question? Is the karma being dissolved if you're not in the silence?
So there is a second part of this question which says, when I feel restless in the silence, how to bring calmness in those times?
Yeah. So here's the point. Calmness is hard to achieve. Let's face it. Silence is hard to achieve. You have to gradually get to it. And how do you do that? All the things that we have that we're doing. Energization will get you more quiet. Yoga postures will get you more quiet. The music will quiet you down. Affirmations will quiet you down. Swamiji's master's talks will quiet you down. But here's the thing. It's a long distance run. It's not going to be, now I'm in silence. I haven't found that to be true. There are times when there's more silence than not. But in your practice, if this is the question I think it is, here's the point. You got to really remember that we only are doing 25% of the whole effort. You've got to draw the grace of God. Master said, I'll give you lots of my good karma. 25%. Guru's pouring on you in your life. If you open yourself, 50%. He's helping that to come into your life. So how are you going to lift the energy in the spine? How are you going to go into the Om? How are you going to open the chakras? How are you going to go through the spiritual life by yourself on your own? Forget it. It doesn't happen. We do our part, and then the power of God and gurus takes us the rest of the way. Burning up karma, it's happening, but mainly just like that story of Horace. Master said he's nearly fully liberated. Why? Because of his devotion, he said. So don't think that it's only techniques. Do your best. Don't get upset. Remember, Swamiji asked Master, he said, I'm doing all these things, but I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not trying hard enough. Master said, you're trying too hard. Where's the joy? I see people, they're all twisted up and they're doing Dhyana. I remember after one Kriya, beautiful ceremony, about 2 weeks later, this gal came and she says, well, Dhyanaji, I don't see the light yet. And I just said, why are you begging? Look what you just got. Just be happy. So in your meditations, do your best and just be happy. You have a path, you have a guru. And all of these things I mentioned will surely help you. Another thing will help you, have some more time alone. Now, however you figure it out, you have to figure it out. But being with people all the time, socializing, talking all the time, it just saps your energy. You have to have time to recharge yourself, isn't it so? And so if you have time, I used to do 6 hours, like, this was way back, not 6 hours of meditation, but from the time I got up, like 6 in the morning, this is when I first started the path, up to 12 on Saturdays. That was my special time. I did yoga postures. I read the Raj Yoga book. I energized, I chanted, I meditated as much as I could. Then I went back to reading. Then I did more postures. But I did long enough so I felt, wow, I'm recharged. So you need one time a week at least when you can recharge yourself. Is that making sense to people? Swamiji took seclusions. And Ananda, we get paid, not here, but there in America when I was there, to take a week in seclusion, all silence, no talking, nobody around. And Swamiji said in his first seclusion, not first, but one of his seclusions, he was so exhausted he slept most of the time. I think it was for 2 weeks, a 2-week seclusion. He said, I only meditate a little. And I think that was like 8 hours a day or something. I just went, wow. And then he said, then the next seclusion, I slept the first day, but then I meditated long hours. You can imagine what long hours were for him. And that, he said, the first seclusion, when I slept most of the time, lasted me energetically for about 2 weeks. The second seclusion, where I really meditated a lot, lasted me a year. So you understand what I'm saying? if you can get times when you really recharge, really replenish your spiritual batteries, then that'll take you through any test. But if you're always, I gotta go, there's something missing there, and you just feel like you're incomplete. Now, here's something. Get up earlier if you have to. The times in the morning when it's quiet, wow, I love those times. Otherwise, the kids are up, everybody's stirring around the house, the housekeeper there if you still have a housekeeper. But if you can get up before everybody, the vibration is so still, isn't it? And then you go in there and meditate, it's like, yes. The only people awake are God and gurus. So it's a wonderful time. But if you try it, if you get up when everybody else is up, there's just this kind of energy and you feel like you're not going deep. Isn't it so? Yeah. Okay, next question.
The next question is also from someone not wanting to be named.
Okay.
I want to feel God's presence all the time, but I keep forgetting very often. How to do this?
What a beautiful question. These are the questions you love. I want to feel God's presence all the time. Well, you need reminders around. So reminder, this is a reminder. Music is a reminder. No pictures of the gurus around the house, they're reminders. Flowers in front of their pictures, that's a reminder. Talks of Swamiji and Master, those are reminders. You got, just take the time, and what time do we have better than now to really reorganize our sadhana? Get certain books, like I have in my meditation room, a few books, I like to open those and read, you know, something after I meditate. Just have things around the house, little altars around. It's not hard to get reminders. And you can do it. Yeah, it just takes a little bit more energy. But to want to always think of God is just a wonderful goal. And pray to Master and Divine Mother. Remember, Master told Swamiji, you've just got to get devotion or you're just going to have a long, dry path. So Swamiji got a harmonium, he started chanting, and he prayed to Divine Mother to help him to get devotion. And you all who met him knew he could barely give a talk at the end without weeping. He was so full of love for God. So pray that you can feel the presence of God and gurus. Maybe one day a week or one for the whole week, take one of the gurus as your companion for the week. Talk to them all week. Babaji, what should I do? Am I doing the right thing? Is this what you would like? You know, next week, take Master. Master, guide me in this. I'm not sure how to do this at my job. You know, whatever it is. Lahiri Mahashaya, please help me. And so you can come up with the reminders, but when you can have that all the time, it's a wonderful feeling, isn't it? Just a wonderful feeling. So I think you can do it. Very nice question. And then?
The next question is from Rohan Pugaokar.
Hi, Rohan.
There are two questions. The first one is, would you be kind as to share your experience of reading the autobiography of a yogi for the very first time?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So did I tell you how I got that book? Was that this group or another group? It was another group. So early on, I was seeking, and I read different books. I tried Buddhist meditation. I tried transcendental meditation. And the way I got into that was I just deeply prayed. And the next day I found this little book on TM, Transcendental Meditation. At the park I was sitting at, there was somebody sitting down from where I was, and that person was meditating. So I went and talked with him, and then within 1 week I got a mantra and I was doing TM. Now, that same person who was a TM teacher and his mother both they gave me Master's book, Autobiography of a Yogi. Obviously, it was supposed to come to me. Now, as I read that, I have to say many things. It thrilled me in my heart, but in my head, I just, there were a lot of question marks. But when I saw Master's face, there was a familiarity. And I looked at the pictures of the masters in that book. I'm more visual. So I would look at the pictures and I'd say, yeah, I like front of Ananda, you know, levitating saint, oh, Giri Bala, you know, I loved the pictures and I loved the stories, even though it seemed so far-fetched for me from where I was. But as I looked at Master's face, I knew he wanted to take me somewhere I had never been in this life. And in my heart and soul, I wanted to go. So it was very different because it wasn't logical at all. And then he sent me to Swamiji. So I first got with Master and then with Swamiji, and I saw him, he was living the teachings. I went, wow. And he was willing to train people. And I said to him, I feel Master sent me to you to be trained. And so the Autobiography of a Yogi came to life for me by Swamiji, because Swamiji told us about Master. He would talk about the book. He would talk about his experiences living with Master. And he had a big tambura. He would bring that out and he would play and chant. He had Indian songs that he had learned in India and other ones he wrote. He would sing those songs and play the tambura. And he had slides of India, the masters and where they lived. And we were enthralled. I used to imagine young Americans who knew nothing with this American yogi, Swami. And he just kept reeling you in so you could just see this is the lives of our gurus. And I don't think without him I would have, I certainly wouldn't still be on the path. I might have tried it for a couple of years, but when that meeting happened, it was a deep soul meeting. And through him, I felt Master. I hope that's helpful to you. Thank you for asking that.
The next question from Rohan. Any advice for a not so young but curious new student? And he then adds, thank you so much for your time. It is indeed a blessing to be able to seek guidance from enlightened souls like you. I humbly thank you.
Now, I was looking for Rohan when you asked, was the same fellow, same Guru Bhai. So what was the crux of the question?
The question is, any advice for a not so young but curious new student?
Yeah. They need to put their toes in the water. Test the water, then you put your foot in. Then you can put part of your leg. You need to just step by step, just keep trying things. And what I mean by that, just if it's somebody you know, or I don't know if it's who it is, but give them a book, give them a talk, give them some music, step by step. And invite them to something, some online, whatever. And it's not everybody's path, but what a blessing that people can find help through it, even if it's not. So just one thing at a time, give one thing at a time. I'll tell you what happened. Maybe this goes with another question, but when I left home, because I had been educated in a very good college, and none of my family went to college, and they were sort of hoping I would be the person who made money for the family and all, and I just knew I had to go to Ananda. At a certain point, once I went there for a visit, I had to go. So my whole family, they were in tears when I left, and my mother kept saying, where are you going? What is this place you're going to? And I said, Mom, all I know is the place is called Ananda. I really didn't know anything. And she said, what does that mean? And I said, all I know is Ananda means joy. And I got out of there and get to Ananda. So for 12 years, my family was so upset that, you know, why did you leave? And who is that man up there, Swami Kriyananda? And it's a cult. And, you know, you can just imagine on and on. And why don't you come back home and get a job? You can imagine. So I just kept leaving it up to Divine Mother. But, you know, it was hard for some years. But I just want to tell you what happened. So then at a certain point, Swami Kriyanandaji gave a talk in Los Angeles where my family was living. And so I invited my mom to come to the talk so she could just get the vibration. You know, I couldn't give them books and music. It just, the door was shut. So I said, well, just come, I'll be there. And, you know, you can hear some of the Ananda ministers. Because actually, Swamiji ended up not giving that talk that day. So then here's me and my mom at the talk. We're sitting in the back. We've come in, you know, just before the talk. And who comes in after us? Swami Kriyananda. So the Swamiji walks in, and where does he sit? Next to me and my mom. So now, mind you, my mom for 12 years is, who is it? Why that man? Get her that again. The Swamiji, I was watching this movie. I just thought, this is too good. So he sits right in between, me and my mom, and Swamiji steps over and he sits next to my mother. The whole time he's sitting by my mom during, I think Jyotish and Daviji were giving the talk. I was so happy. So afterwards, everybody stands, Om and whatever. So Swamiji, he turns right around to my mom and he says, hello, I'm Swami Kriyananda. I went, God, that's so good. Yeah, I'm Swami Kriyananda. And she knew who he was and he knew who she was. And so my mom, she just don't know what to say. You know, she's been almost cursing him all these years. So she says, oh, and listen to what she says. She says, I'm on the path too. And I went, huh? And then Swamiji says, I know you are. And that was the blessing Master gave to my mom. And after that, she was stick with Ananda and Swami Kriyananda. Now that's how Master will help people. I couldn't do it. They weren't listening to me. But he got in there and I loved seeing that drama. I just thought, and then my mother said after that talk, because we were leaving to go back up to Ananda, she says these words. I mean, this was like, is this my mother? I mean, she says, stay on the path because I'm right behind you. I just wondered, is she okay? But she changed in that one meeting. So your friends, your family members, they can change. Just, it might take a long time, but just keep offering to God and gurus and saying, you have to help them. I can only do so much. And here I've been in India all these years, and I'm not there to help my family. And I just keep praying to Master, it's up to you. They're in your protection. I may not see them again. How do I know? There's no flights, there's no way to get anywhere. But I had to offer that to Master. I just said, I can only do what I can do. It's really up to you. So your friends, your family, relatives, pray for them that Divine Mother will help them. What can we do? We can only do our little bit, but they can do everything. Okay, Rohan, nice to meet you, Rohan. Okay. How are we doing on our questions?
We are completing the first page. We have another page to go. So we have about 6,
But the
7
second
questions.
page only has 3 questions on it, doesn't it? The second page only has 3 questions.
No, this is, I put all of them together in one file, Dhyana ji.
How many questions are left?
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, I'll go through those more quickly, I hope. Go ahead.
The next one is from Sneha Basu Roy Chaudhary. Let me just check if she's in here. Yes, she's there.
Okay, good.
When I have a big, sorry.
I see her there, yeah.
When I have a big responsibility to take up and challenges to face all by myself with no one by my side to support me, how do I go further with this? What is that one thing that I can practice or do in order to keep myself going forward and face those challenges with confidence and without any fear in my heart? Oh.
I would say satsang. Most important, be with other like-minded people. You'll get a lot of strength from them. If there's a second thing you can do, energization. If there's a third, meditate. But you need satsang when you're going through a hard time. What if nobody had any satsang? What if we didn't have Zoom or anything and everybody was alone? That would be very difficult. Okay.
The next question is from Tanya Gupta. There are 3 questions. The first one is, when I meditate alone, it is not as effective and powerful as the time when I do a guided meditation in class or through videos.
Yeah.
How to make meditating alone effective and deep?
I would say a couple of things. Come to experience of God if you can. Your meditations will definitely improve, and it's going on for another month. You need guidance. Just to go off by yourself and try these things, that's a long, hard path, and you may not reach the goal. So here again, satsang, meditating with others. Then when you're by yourself, your meditation is much better. So meditate with others, then meditate on your own. And get the guidance, then meditate. And you'll find that it's much, much, much easier. Yeah?
The next question from Tanya is, during Hansa, how not to control the breath, as at times I feel like I'm controlling the breath and not flowing freely. And I'll add the third question because it is also related to Hansa. During Hansa, there is a state of most calm and almost breathlessness. How to stop that gasp of breath which comes in, wanting air?
Yeah, so these are related to relaxation. So the first one, if you can, this question came up earlier today, if you can tense the body and relax, you'll find that Hong Sa flows much more easily. And the first part of that question was about tension. And the second part, basically I want to say is, the more you can do things that relax you in the beginning before you meditate, the better off you're going to be. And that gasping feeling, that's a passing phase. It's not going to last. And so just try to relax more through the postures, through the chanting, through the energization. And if you get to a point where you're trying to control Hong Sa, this is what I said earlier to someone, do that tension and relaxation. Just, if you get into that point, just break it. Break by doing several times and restart. Like rebooting your computer or rebooting your phone, and then you're just fresh again. So don't fight it. Don't say, no, I can't control. Don't control. Just say, no, I'm going to reboot and do several times, and then it'll be gone. Make sense? Okay.
The next question is from Shravani Datta. What is that we feel? A sensation, more or less, a strong current from the palms of hands and soles of feet after the meditation. Most of the times, I don't feel like coming out of meditation. Thank you for your guidance.
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I was remembering early on when I started meditating, I remember a time when I didn't feel my hands. And I don't know if that was real or not, but I just remember that. And then it never came back again. So when these things happen, the tingling in the hands, tingling in the feet, just let it be. It's a wonderful feeling. It's a good thing. So I don't see if there's anything to do with it. Is there some more to that question, or? Yeah, just enjoy. Sometimes we were talking about energization the other day, and sometimes when you're energized, your whole body just feels like it's just, if you do it well enough for enough times, your body is vibrating. And it's just showing us currents of energy flowing. Same thing with the palms of the hands and the feet. When we do this, you can feel in your hands, there's a vibration there. You know, when you chant Om, same thing. Okay.
So the next question is from Akshita Agarwal. There are two questions. The first one is, when I meditate, it brings an enormous amount of peace and calmness to the mind.
Yeah.
How can I exponentially increase this and apply it in my daily life? Because right now, considering the COVID situation, a lot of negative things are happening around me. How can I absolutely tell myself and believe completely that all shall be well? Just remain calm.
Well, I would say take that, you need some time by yourself. You need time to recharge your batteries, spiritual batteries. Quick meditations every day is not going to make you feel strong and protected. So take some time once a week, even if it's Mondays, you just get up earlier and do more yoga, do more energization. I mean, do it more vigorously, do more meditation. You need time. Feel the sense of peace doesn't come from sitting and going. It comes from having more time. You can feel it here and there, but if you want it in your life all the time, I say the best thing is to have one day a week when you say, this is my time that I'm really going to recharge myself. And it'll become addictive. You just say, people say, do you want to do this? You want to do that? You say, no, I don't. This is my time. I remember at Ananda's village in the Sangha office, I said, at noon every day, I had an appointment, and nobody knew where the appointment was or who I had the appointment with, but I knew and God knew, and people would try to call and get you to come to this meeting. I said, no, I have an appointment. And I had that half hour and I put that in. So if you can't do a long time, have short times during the day. But after a while, you have to have it. Your soul is just calling out, I need that time. And you'll find that you feel rejuvenated. And peace will be there more.
Akshita has another question.
Okay.
I become extremely confused and get agitated. I don't write now. What should I do to become extremely successful in life? How do I make my intuition go strong, and how can I stay motivated to just go and not procrastinate?
Master said intuition grows as you sit after the techniques in meditation. So after you sit to meditate, sit a long time afterwards, and you find that your intuition gets more strong. Being successful in everything, everything works. If you seek ye first the kingdom of God, you put God first, you do your practices, everything else falls into place. Without that, it's like those stick dolls. If you pick it up by the wrong end, everything looks confused. If you pick it up by the middle, right over the head, everything is falling into place. So take the time now during this COVID time to just get your spiritual life in order and get it more magnetic and get it more beautiful, more recharged, and you'll find that it just takes time. I think that's the biggest thing I'm seeing with most of these questions. These things take time, and you just need to just be patient and do your best. Pray to the masters. You'll find their help there. But don't feel badly. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel I gotta do more. Just relax and enjoy. Okay.
The next question is from Shomen.
This is the last one?
It could be. We have two more.
Oh my God, you're kidding. The more come in?
This could be the last question. We can keep the rest for next Satsang
How many
Dhyana.
are left?
Two more. Three in total, but we could say two more.
If you read them out to me, I'll tell you which ones I'll answer.
Okay. The first one is from Shomen Datta, and it says, I do not, it's about his experience with second Kriya. So should I say it out loud?
No, I would say I read that one. For second Kriya, I would say come to a second Kriya review and you'll find you can do it better. You need help. You can't just get in there by yourself. Yeah.
So there is one more question. There are two more questions. One is about whether this is the Kali Yuga and Dwapara Yuga, and I think you already answered.
Yeah, I answered that already.
So the last question is from me, and it is, what is the secret of deepening meditation and inner communion alongside increasing and sustaining high energy service, which calls for outer engagement? What are the most important things to remember in living discipleship as the highest life dharma?
I think, I think I answered that in many ways, but your seva is going to be empowered by your meditation, and your meditation is going to be empowered by your seva. So just do what you can. I think for most people these days, just be in tune with Master, be willing, be as joyful as you can, and take your time on the path and serve as best as you can. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect until we reach final liberation. So just do the best you can and let Master take charge of your life. I think that's the best thing. Do what you can, offer it with love and devotion. Let him do the rest. Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Nice to
Dhyanaji.
share with you.
Thank you so
Hope
much.
to share more with you soon. God bless you. Bye-bye.